It's in the fractured diadems, the fragments of who I once was, persistent, yet slowly fading shards of my truth. The adoration of so many sunsets, the roll and toss of waves, ordained me in cherished brotherhoods, but were the blessings wasted on my skittering regrets? Could I not have girded strong in more manly stances?
I've always been here,
The Darkling whispered with a mewly sneer.
I crouch in my tiny cavern, doorkeeping your fear, my sweet. You know me well. The odious fungulation you pillow upon is where my tentacled caress finds so much fun.
It cackles an infantile chortle, shyly retreats through the portal of denial, its hinged entry deep within the colonic depths of my large intestine. I immediately ignite the rays, gather the days, a host of moments harmoniously plays.
Oh, that's a futile evanescence.
The Darkling says, its fetid breath erupting in minuses and deficits, adding porous ruts to my troubled ways. But I carry my father here, I insist with a finger jab, here in the alveoli juncture, and his pulse and fight are dynastic compunction.
You've worn the tread on your hereditary cycle far too often, so don't expect my talons to soften. I am your anchor, a constant sensation, an annoying cloy, your undeniable pulsation. Don't forget, we await your arrival, but there is no chance of survival. Your eternity awaits an embracing machination, cocooning your transformation to spiritualization, a true liberation from your imitative fixation, allowing complete disintegration.
I fling a fistful of rebellion at this scabrously masked hellion, my cursing spew of venomous ire, casting the snaily slime onto the funeral pyre, and I dance my victories, cherishing those pathetic minuscules and deliciously fractured fantasies in dreams of rhythmic fortissimo, where I am the flow of the river and I glide through the riffles in a propulsive twirl through the rainbowed spume, where I find joyous celebration in small treasured smiles that frost and sweeten. The impending possibilities are a dark distraction. Sternum halves, abrading with the slightest action, tubular networks bind me in latex traction, their slurping harvest of juices, no satisfaction, because my wounds go deeper than their hands could ever reach. To a heart they will never touch, its scars beseech. My burdensome reality is no figure of speech, but then these painful musings are shaped different for us each. I want closures or beginnings, a godly impulse unabated, something inviolably consistent that isn't overrated, explaining why we are so often castrated by the cultures of whining, their entitlement fixated. In my withering spirit, I can recall my might, sharpened weapons, ready to lead the fight, to slay the fatuous, the demonic acolyte, and yet, I really do need a tonic. Not a heavy anesthetic, maybe a little something electric, a fresh new harmonic, perhaps a new tactic to cancel out the robotic, erase my moronic invent a little magic, refresh my once erotic, encourage my humanistic, stop being so pathetic, but it must be organic, to avoid the atomic and make it truly sonic, but not telephonic, nor anatomic, just a solid bionic with some empathic tears. There is an embarrassing flavor to all this emotionality, where I am splayed open in anatomical finality without manual nor guide, a labyrinthian reality, unbalanced by the insignificance of my life's totality. The delusional masses rise up, their chorus insistently offering hope. You'll be fine, they say. You're a strong 82. You'll manage. You'll cope. My days plod onward. My steps leave no imprint on this final slope. The threads that I've woven bind my soul to the end of this rope. I can't help laughing at the punchline of this joke. The thousands of people with whom I've spoke, the millions of words written, the unwritten laws I broke, an old codge now, warmed by woolen socks, and the protective embrace of my heavy cloak when, at 3 a.m., I am assaulted by an avalanche of anatomical horrors, cinematic snippets of battery-driven bone saws, growling a soft snarl through my sternum and rib cartilage, muscles and organs being pushed and shoved by 3 pairs of bloodied gloves delve into my thoracial cavity, substitute arteries sliced out from my leg, arm, my chest wall, as clips, staples, and grafting minuscularities are sewn in, and a small forceps part, a tiny clamp knurl, a spreader flangelet, or a screw falls deep, hiding in a small pooling of blood, covering the anterior nook between the istium and the nosticum sac, where it will hide as a painful mystery in the wet dark for days. I grog into a fogged awareness, garbled by the tubular strangler fucking my throat down into my chest. A web entanglement of tubes drain the seep from my violated corpus, while the embarrassing warm flow of urine drip, drip, drips through the catheter, penetrating the wounded pucker of my bladder mouth. Electrode patches clamp and claw the baby softness of my chest and sides. I feel every single staple and stitch, the pinchy bite of each, pulling its merciless reassembly of muscle and tendon into a hopeful semblance of what and where everything was. There is no rest, and the terror is not the sudden stun and rush, but the bitter coddle of the Darkling's shadowing as it sets up house somewhere near my solar plexus, from where it launches micro-talons of nauseating imaginings, their memory to remain till my end, a constant reminder of God's amusement. I know he'll be crouched in the corner of the operating room, waiting, despite the wheeze and rush of the respirators, the pumps, the dilators, and inhalers. I'll hear him breathing in that patient rhythm, watching the hands and stainless instrumentals, playing a sensitive legato inside the cavity, its endless depths never reaching my soul, never touching the me I know, the me of secrets enfolded into the numbness, flooding in insistent drops, in plasticities to ventricles, in particles that disperse in sorrowed pauses as the rubbered hand sews and sutures, stitching the cannulas, the pulsing nebula, a universe between each downbeat, a samba here, a mambo there, then a swing pattern between nurses. As the tubing disperses, more juice, to hide the sad truth with which I abide. I fooled him, perhaps. He slithers closer to the surgeon's elbow, intrigued, hopeful of his victory, but a nurse pierces his skull with a catty remark. Truthful, sharply honed, a droplet of honesty worthy of a smirk and snort. Reluctantly, he returns to the corner to cower and fester and wait.